Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Vixino Rockshark. Now, it looks very similar to a lot of knives that we have seen, right? The Benchmade Bug Out and I don't know how many thousands of others. And that's not what's special about this knife, the look, right? The look is that of a tool. It's a simple crossbar lock. It's got a good pocket clip. It's going to check a lot of boxes, but it's also very, very similar to a bunch of stuff that we've seen. So why talk about this one? What is special about it? Well, number one, I think the price is good for, it's about $59.95 or something like that on Amazon, 14C28N G10. But most importantly, I think that this was sent to me, or maybe it was recommended by Taylor, or maybe this company reached out to Taylor to get this knife to me. But I checked Taylor's website. If you don't know who Taylor is, the link at the bottom of my description goes to his HRC testing website. Over 700 tests. Pretty amazing compilation of data there. This knife tests very consistently at, I think they advertised 59 to 60 for 14C28N, which is good. All four that he tested were between 60 and 60.2. That's pretty awesome. Very, very important to hit the advertised HRC, but most importantly that, that advertised HRC is actually optimized, which we found out over the years that most of the time, a lot of these companies are not hitting anywhere close to optimal HRC, which is why what Taylor does is so important. But considering that, I feel like the price on this is awesome, very competitive, and it's going to check a lot of boxes for a lot of people. Thanks so much to, it was either Taylor or Vixino for sending this in for me to take a look at. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. Overall length is coming in at about 7 inches, blade length about 3, and cutting edge also about 3. Let's do some size comparisons. Any custom skills you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others, up against my own full-size Excalibur and the Shark Cub, the Demco Shark Cub. You can see here it's actually very similar to the Demco Shark Cub. In fact, is the Shark Cub, I think this is starting to break. Boy, I might need a new tape measure. It's actually, the Shark Cub's a little bit shorter, but very similar in overall size. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Para 3, bigger by, I think, maybe just 1/4 of an inch. If I remember correctly, it's 7 1/4. Yeah, just a little bit bigger, but it does have more cutting edge than the Spyderco Para 3. And then finally, we'll put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, whoops, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Hogue Deca. How is the action on this knife? Well, it's crossbar lock, and most of you have experienced a crossbar lock. As somebody who has experienced, I don't know, like 2,000 crossbar locks, this is amongst the better ones, and mainly because the Omega springs are higher tension. The action is also really nice. I don't know if you guys can actually see in there. I'm going to look here. But it's got some bronze cages, or actually, I don't know what the cages are made out of, but it does run on bearings, and it is very smooth and consistent. This feels unbelievably similar to, any number of high-end, like the Chinese brands that actually take themselves seriously. There's an infinite number of Chinese junk brands, and, if you're new, it's kind of hard to tell looking at pictures, but there's also an infinite number of Chinese brands that make budget knives that take themselves seriously, and even amongst those, right, it's still somewhat rare for these companies to really be hitting consistent high HRC numbers. But the nice thing, what I'm saying here is not only are they hitting those numbers, but they are also very obviously familiar with, proper and consistent why am I brain farting? The machining accuracy, not the complexity of machining, but the consistency and the low tolerances, right? This is something that is very obviously very important to this company because everything feels really, really good. But, nowadays, a lot of stuff feels really, really good. So it's not just the fit and finish. It's not just that. It's getting everything together, making sure that the lockup is secure, solid, consistent, reliable, etc. and then getting good cutting geometry, the appropriate blade steel, and that high consistent HRC. So it's nice to see them doing all of this together. But the action is very good, and the thumb studs are placed in a good spot. It's very easy to manipulate them. I know what a lot of people are going to say is, it's a bummer that it's crossbar lock, because everything is a crossbar lock. It would have been nice to see something different, like a button-operated liner, button-operated top liner, or something else, right? And I agree. The locking system, obviously, on this knife is not special. A knife like this, the cherry on top is when they're doing a different, newer locking system. And what's popular right now, what I think is infinitely more interesting, is a button-operated top liner or button-operated compression lock, or just directly, a compression lock, now that it's able to be used. But it's fine that they've got this. It's important to note that this came to me with a bunch of different colored thumb studs. I've checked the listings. It doesn't look like they all come with all of those thumb studs. So it's like they're just showing you, or they were just wanting to show me and everybody else all the different colors that these can come with, right? So it looks like we've got orange, we've got blue, we've got green, we have a brighter orange, we have a darker orange, right? And then purple. So depending on where you're buying and what's available, you might be able to get, a whole bunch of different colors of these thumb studs. And then I believe they offer a few different colors of G10 as well. I think four or five different colors of G10. So anyways, carry profile, thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It is not chunky. It's just thicker, I think, than some people might expect. But part of how they keep the price down, I think, is just doing the full liners. They're not nested. They're just liners with scales on top of them. So yeah, but not incredibly chunky or anything like that. Let's do length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This is a beautifully simple knife to carry. It carries very similarly to, like literally 100 knives I think that I reviewed, or just carry very similarly to this. But it's a good experience. It's an easy knife to carry. Weight, once again, we're looking at micarta, steel liners, steel hardware. I think the studs are probably aluminum. That's how we're getting the, and I think that's what we're looking at there. And then 14C28N. We are looking at a 3-ounce knife, which means this is an ultra lightweight category knife in my book. It's also balanced right in the index finger position, the primary index finger position, which makes it stupidly simple to carry. All right, blade stock thickness real quick. If you can't tell, this was a very straightforward. This type of knife does not require an enormous amount of research or carry time to be able to sort of come to a conclusion here. 111 thousandths, so nice and thin on the spine and definitely thin at the edge. We'll do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. I think that's a T8. It's hard to see it. Yeah, so we have T8 for the pivot, T8 for the body screws, T6 for the pocket clip screws, no big deal, and same with the filler tab screw, and then one more screw over here. You'll notice that it has a filler tab, and you can swap out this pocket clip to the other side because we have an ambidextrous locking system, and we should have ambidextrous mounting positions for the pocket clip, so that's nice. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. This is a crossbar lock, and sometimes it's kind of obnoxious to mess with these. So if you really have to take it apart, it's not impossible, but it might be a little bit tricky if you've never done it before. But just know you're dealing with Omega springs in there. Anyways, meat and potatoes time. This is extremely straightforward. This is the type of knife I think that's really good for somebody who has discovered recently, that just because you're buying a knife that is around the $50 mark or, whatever, it doesn't mean that it has to be garbage. There are an alarming number of people, and people always say, where are these people that you're talking about? Like, when you say that people say stuff like this, we never see them. You guys here who watch my long form content, I really appreciate the fact that you guys come and do that. But there's this whole other universe of people who just think pocket knives are interesting. And my YouTube shorts section is a good representation of a teeny tiny percentage of those people. Now, my YouTube shorts every month get millions of views. Millions. Here on the long form stuff, somewhere between 1 and 2 million views a month on the long form. But I get millions over there, multiple millions in YouTube shorts. These people are just They're just people who know that pocket knives exist. And they like knives because they are knives. And that is the depth of it. That there's no more. Their knowledge goes no deeper. The most expensive brands they have ever heard of are Benchmade, and that's it. Buck knives are the best knives ever. It's not even a meme. This is literally what this is the average thought, right? And then they carry cheap knives because they don't want to spend a bunch of money on a good knife. They just buy gas station knives, actually carrying around gas station knives. These people are also under the assumption that that is all there is at that price point. And they get mad at me constantly for making fun of them. They say, oh, well, I have to be, well, you're making fun of me because I can't afford a good knife? They have no idea that inexpensive knives exist that are really, really good. Furthermore, they have no idea that I am probably one of the most prominent budget knife reviewers on YouTube ever. There's lots of them, but I've got an absolute buttload of budget knife content. Yeah, they have no idea. And this type of stuff absolutely does exist, and it's here. And once they figure out that this stuff exists, usually what people look for is that quintessential, straightforward, no nonsense. They figure out, okay, it's got geometry is important, right? I want something straightforward. I want that utilitarian handle shape. I want that straightforward, utilitarian blade shape. In this case, very high flat grind, right? Little flat up here. Maybe a drop point, the safest, right? The bug out shape of knife, the knife shape of knife. We shouldn't say bug out because that implies that the bug out is an original design. It's not. It's a knife shaped knife. So this is also a knife shaped knife. This is that quintessential tool that people land on once they have kind of discovered that they are not forced to carry a tack force because they're on a budget, right? Or something from Frost Cutlery or whatever. And yeah, these are a little bit more expensive, but people realize maybe you're going to pay double. You know, maybe that junky gas station knife you have or that they have costs $25 or so. So you're going to pay a little more than double. Is it going to perform more than twice as well? Oh my God, yeah. And people figure that out. It's not just fluff. These things are performing multiple times over better. The fit and finish is multiple times over better. The designs are better. I mean, people figure that out. You know, they go after exactly this type of knife, and this is a really, really good choice. It makes sense that people land on this. This knife in particular is extra special because they're actually hitting those numbers. And we are seeing more. You know, people are going to say, hey, you're reviewing this as if no one is hitting the proper numbers. No, a lot of companies are, and I do my best to highlight that stuff, and I do my best to coordinate with Taylor and use his data. But the vast majority of companies are still not hitting optimal numbers. Even, you know, some of the most popular players in our neck of the woods are still not hitting optimal HRC numbers on a lot of these steels, like a lot of the super steels. So a lot of it's like really expensive stuff. Wee knife, sorry. Benchmade. I didn't do a good job censoring that one, did I? But yeah, they're not hitting those numbers, so it makes knives like this like a major highlight, and that is essentially the meat and potatoes of it, guys. Good ergos. We got a locking system that's not new and it's certainly not interesting, but it works. It's ambidextrous. Omega springs can fail. If they do, they're really easy to replace. It's just annoying. Got good jimping. We have great blade geometry. Great. Factory edge is very, very bitey. Nice tip. Thumb studs in the right place. We've seen this design a million times, right? This is just, one of the best combinations to form this shape. I can see why, if the company reached out to Taylor and Taylor, sent it, or maybe Taylor wanted me to see either way, I can understand why. It makes sense to me. We got a simple backspacer, simple pocket clip, but a good, very Vosteed style pocket clip, a good pocket clip, easy to remove, right? Lockup is completely and totally solid. Little tiny bit of stick off the crossbar lock, not bad though. No pivot lash, pretty good snap, even though, there's no, like the event horizon of the curvature behind the blade, and as it slips past the maximum tension of that lock bar as it compresses into those Omega springs, that's what creates the detent. right? It's another big surprise to people who are always, feel like they're forced to buy rainbow tack forces because they're on a budget. They find out that the assisted feature is not necessary and hasn't been for a long time. It's just simply a well-made, like whatever's creating the detent, a properly tuned detent, which is something that is very much absent from gas station knives that do not use the assisted feature. The reason that we see so many assisted gas station knives is they just bypass the need to bother with that at all, and generally speaking, cool factor, because people who don't know any better confuse assisted knives with switchblades, and that's really what they're selling you is, the bright colors and the overly tactical look or the fantasy element, plus the idea that, it's a spring-loaded knife, it must be some sort of right. You find out that that's all nonsense, but in this case, the detent is tuned properly, and it's very easy to deploy without any wrist or anything like that, even the reverse flake. This is a really good knife. It's a really plain, straightforward profile that we've seen before. It is the exact combination of things that a lot of people starting, getting their first good knife. This is the type of knife that people land on. The cherry on top with this one is the ultra consistent HRC numbers. I mean, if like the 4 tests that Taylor did, they were all like 60.0 to 60.2. Pretty good. Pretty good. Recommendable knife for you, for a family member, right? Somebody else that maybe you want to introduce them to the world of good knives. This is a great first pocket knife. Now, there's lots of great first pocket knives out there, but this one I think is one of the top contenders with that consistent HRC. So whether it's for you or for somebody else, right? You got that guy who's carrying around that cringy dragon knife at work. Maybe you want to introduce him to something that's gonna perform a little better. This is the right type of thing. This is going to go on my recommended knives playlist and my cheap knives I like playlist because it's $60. It is a budget knife, absolutely. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.